No more compromise. Not permitted. I don't know what the possible solutions will be based upon taking care of the environment, but these are the kind of things that we were looking for when they came down to the most simplest thing, which had to do with our Constitution about Native Hawaiian gathering rights, and how all of a sudden Maui County lost their rights of gathering, fishing. And these kind of issues was never considered to see whether or not it was probable that the effect from these injection wells may possibly had a lot to do with the reproductive cycle and the replenishment of our reefs. Mahalo to Russell Sparks for his input on algae bloom, his input on all the information that he shared with us. It solidifies the fact that we don't take into consideration about these kinds of things when we start changing or re-implementing or allowing new permits. We don't take into consideration about how this is going to affect the fishing guy who's trying to feed his family. How it's going to affect the guy that wants to stay in the mountains trying to go kalo and feed his family.
We ask that the EPA, Maui County, and the community engage in a meaningful conversation and action plan about how to best stop or phase out this wasteful practice of injection of these waters and instead redirect treated R1 waters for beneficial uses as is the state's policy. We urge you to consider the seriousness of the dialogue in the face of ongoing drought. As many of you know, in August of this year, the County of Maui and the state of Hawaii were designated as federal disaster areas by the U.S. Agriculture Secretary Edward Schaefer.
This is an urgent problem, and it's important that we act now. The coral decline is very dramatic. There are a lot of emerging issues that have to do with the toxic chemicals that we use, the cleansers that we use in our houses, and also the pharmaceuticals and cosmetic products that we use. Because these chemicals, our treatment plants were not designed to remove these chemicals. This problem with pharmaceuticals was first recognized when they started seeing fish and amphibians that had mutations, and they had change in gender and other things. So these are called endocrine disruptors because birth control pills is a big one. So they actually disrupt the endocrine system of these aquatic species. We
do have one of the wettest spots in the world. Proportionately in our community, we have more water than almost any place else in the world. We're in the upper 10% of water availability to a community. And to have an even greater resource that's absolutely in our community right now, that's creating a problem for our environment in the ocean, and not take that resource and use it where it can do the most good and have a very strong benefit, is ludicrous.
Nuisance algae blooms consisting of the red alga Hypnea muciformis and the green alga Ola fasciata are problematic in shallow coastal waters around urbanized areas of Maui. The Kahekili area is an area of problematic algal growth, primarily of Ola fasciata, but other species at times, and substantial which has already been mentioned. Kahekili has the highest macroalgal N15 value on Maui, and 15 signals that are high are indicative of sewage. So this indicates the presence of sewage in the nearshore marine environment in the Kahekili area. Sewage effluent contains elevated levels of many nutrients compared to oceanic background levels, some of which are important for algal growth and photosynthetic needs. From laboratory studies with reagent-grade nutrient enrichments, we see that nitrogen and phosphorus play important roles in the photosynthetic needs of Hypnea muciformis, but are unable to promote excessive growth on their own. They need more than just nitrogen and phosphorus to grow. Our sewage effluent addition experiments resulted in growth rates similar to those observed in bloom situations for both Hypnea muciformis and Ova fasciata, which were significantly higher with increasing levels of sewage effluent, whereas no significant difference was found between treatment for Acanthophorus spicifera, another blooming species here in the islands that's also invasive, or Dictyota activilola, anyway, another native plant that is common to reed flats everywhere in Hawaii. Therefore, in terms of growth, Hypnea muciformis and Ova fasciata similarly respond to excess nutrients more positive and faster than A. spicifera and Dictyota. Additional results from the sewage effluent additions were that Ova fasciata requires fewer nutrients to increase photosynthetic performance. So, anyway, than what is required for H. muciformis and A. spicifera. All three species, except for Dictyota, positively respond to excess nutrients in terms of building photosynthetic capacity, and Ova fasciata is the most responsive. The last conclusion here is that the native, the non-blooming reed plant Dictyota does not enhance photosynthetic properties in the presence of elevated nutrients. From another aspect of this study where we did a nutrient uptake rate determination, we see that substantial decreases in nitrogen, phosphorus, iron, molybdenum, and manganese were found over a 24-hour period in the Hypnea muciformis experiment, which displays the ability of the species to utilize substantial levels of these nutrients in a short amount of time. In addition, these experiments present the importance of considering more stringent limits on the total allowable daily loads of algal-promoting macro and micronutrients such as manganese, total nitrogen, total phosphorus, iron, and molybdenum.